So good day, I'm Leighton Duane Astizon from the DM2 section A1. So I'll be discussing the module 4 exercise prescription for the trainee. So there's a brief description about my trainee. She's a former varsity player. She's a friend of mine here, and she's already in Dumaguete because she's doing an intern there. So we're gonna do this prescription stay virtually. So I'll be sending her virtual prescription. So I created cardiovascular conditioning. So the first static stretch will be torso rotation that has 60 seconds. That has a repetition of 2. Static stretch that has arm circles, 60 seconds. Repetition of 2. Quadricep stretch, 60 seconds and repetition of 2. And jumping jacks, 60 seconds but repetition of 1. So I choose this 8 conditioning that really suited her because she's in the moderate intensity or level. So first I choose the squats for her, and next is the side lunges. Third is Russian twist. Fourth is crunch kicks, and fifth mountain climber. Six is heel touch, and seven is Superman, and 8 is plank. And she will do this as 2 times a week or maybe 1 times a week, but I'll just give it as a 1 times a week. Because she's busy, because she's doing an intern in Dumaguete in her specific school. So her cooldown will be pretzel stretch. Has a 60 seconds of duration, repetition of 1, and has a set of 2. The second will be hamstring stretch, 60 seconds, repetition of 1, and sets of 1. The third will be seated butterfly stretch with 120 seconds, repetition of 1, and set of 1. And the fourth stretch will be cobra pose, which will be a good last cool down stretch so the whole body can be cooled down. So it has a duration of 120 seconds and a repetition of 1 and set of 1. So I created this cardiovascular conditioning because, as I've known her, she's a former athlete. So since this pandemic it affects every one of us. So this will increase her stamina and endurance once again. So for the next prescription that I created, it's muscular resistance training. So her age is 20 years old. Her goal is to have a muscular endurance. And again, his volume is moderate. This frequency will be 1 times a week because as I mentioned, she's busy. So let's start from the warm-up stretch. Once again, it will be torso rotation. It has a duration of 60 seconds, set of 1, repetition of 50 to 30 repetition. The second will be arm circles, 60 seconds, and had a set of 1, repetition of 15 to 30. Next warm-up stretch is jumping jacks, has a 60 seconds and 1 set, and has a repetition of 20 to 30 repetition. So the exercise that I just choose is I just choose this bit that was suited her because as a female athlete, no, there are some specific exercises that cannot be done by the females that can be done by the males. So I choose the squats. Has a set of 1 and repetition of 12 to 15. Has the rest of 1 minute, and load has 70, and the RPE is 3. So 3 is equivalent to moderate. So I choose 3 to all RPE for this muscular resistance training. The next exercise is lateral lunges. It has 1 set, 12 to 15 repetition, and has the rest of 1 minute, and the load is 69. The next exercise is push-ups. So after those squats and lateral lunges, she will just gonna do the ground exercises. So it will be more focused on doing the ground exercises. So first, again, it will be doing push-ups, has a sets of 1, repetition to 12 to 15, the rest of 1 minute, and the load of 80%. Next is sit-ups, a set of 1, 12 to 15 repetition, the rest of 1 minute, and the load is 79. Next is plank, and has a set of 1, repetition of 1, rest of 1 minute, and the load is 70. For the last exercise is doing the side plank. So it's a side plank. So I did 2 sets for the left and the right. It has the repetition of 1 and the rest of 1 minute and the load of 70%. So we're gonna continue down to cooldown. Her cooldown will just be the same to the cardiovascular. So her cooldown will be has a pretzel stretch, has the duration of 60 seconds, sets of 2 for the left and right, and repetition of maybe has a repetition of 1. Seated butterfly stretch has a duration of 120 seconds, set of 1, and repetition to 10 to 30 reps. And the last is cobra pose. Has a duration of 120 seconds and a set of 1 and repetition to 10 to 20. So that's what's inside of my muscular resistance training prescription. I just created this muscular resistance training. As I said, her goal is to have a muscular endurance. Since she's my friend, I've known her so much. I know that she's living a unhealthy lifestyle, so I created this prescription. Not only that she will be doing this in her free time, but it will also increase her immune system in a free way. Alright, enough. So that's the explanation of my module 4 exercise prescription for the trainee.